Thanks for stopping by. My name is Clint Mackey. I'm a broker in the state of Michigan. I specialize in unique properties, and this video is going to be a little longer than usual because it's a very unique property, very different property I have for sale right now. It's actually a vintage Victorian mansion for sale. This is a bed and breakfast business that's for sale in Michigan. And it's very unique, and I'm going to run you through what we have for sale here. This is the real deal. This is an antique. This is a vintage mansion that was restored specifically for becoming a bed and breakfast business. It's in the city of Coldwater, Michigan. So if you need to find out this location, go ahead and Google 215 East Chicago Street in Coldwater, Michigan. It's a unique home because it has so many uses. It's 7,000 square feet plus of vintage, restored, antique real estate. I'm going to run you through this. I'm going to show you some of the different uses. Now, you can use this as a single family house. You can use this as a home, and what a home it would be. But there's also an income potential, an income property potential for this. And they've hosted quite a few weddings here, wedding receptions, business meetings, because it's just such a unique property all the way around. So look at what we have here. Everything about this property has been restored properly. No one went through and did anything stupid here. They took this house apart and put it back together the way it was built. It was a very complex property when it was built. And it was built by someone who had money back in 1903. And if you understand construction principles back in the day, back then, they didn't have a lot of power tools. This house was hand constructed, hand carved, and just a beautiful monument to someone's dedication to making a unique property and a unique house really beautiful. The uniqueness of it. Here's the old school mail slot from back in the day when the postman would come up and slide mail in your slot, and the traditional monuments to the time. The artisan glass all the way through this house is amazing. I'm going to show you later on a piece of glass work that is inspiring, totally inspiring. This is the parquet flooring. This is the real deal for parquet flooring. These are 2.5-inch squares throughout the entire house, individually laid down oak through the entire house. This is not something they picked up at Home Depot. This is the real oak that was brought in 1903 and restored throughout the years. This is Grecian key marble that was imported, and they use this marble all the way through the entire house in the different bathrooms. This is, again, not something you pick up on a street corner somewhere. This is the original marble that was restored and maintained throughout the years. Just beautiful. This is the entryway. It's like a hotel. It is just amazing the way they maintain and then restored the woodwork throughout the entire house, and the fireplaces that are all the way through the entire home also. Now these are all gas fireplaces now simply because of maintenance and insurance reasons, but they are beautiful all the way through, and they are the original fireplace mantles. The detail that was put into restoring this house, these pocket doors throughout the entire house were removed, laid flat, completely restored, and the hardware is original and it all works. It's very rare to find a house of this age that has not been beat up and just scavenged for all the hardware in the house. This hardware is original and all of it works properly, and these doors slide, they close, they work the way they're supposed to, and they're not painted and ruined, frankly, by miscreants that would destroy something like this. Look at the hand carved detail that's afforded on all these different pillars and pilasters all the way through the house. This is such an amazing testament to architecture. I'm going to show you now one of my favorite rooms in this entire home. This goes back to a period when people entertained with conversation and dinner. This is the formal dining room that right now seats 10 people very easily. Very long table, easily seats 10 people. I think the only reason that they don't have a 12 or 14 is because the rug isn't long enough. This is an amazing piece of furniture, and by the way, most of these antiques in this property stay with the house. So the furniture you see, all of these carvings, the stained glass, the leaded glass, the antiques, with the right price will stay with this home. Again, another amazing pocket door with that works and it slides and it works perfectly. Look at the carvings here. Look at the detail that they put into preserving this property. And this is stuff that was not carved by laser. It wasn't designed in AutoCAD. It was laid out by hand by someone who had an artist touch with a carving tools, and they turn these pieces specifically for people who had a lot of money and can afford them. These are handcrafted closures on all the doors in this dining room, all the way through the house. The cabinetry has the original closures, the original hasps, hinges, and everything to make the cabinetry work properly, and it all functions exactly the way it was designed. This is such a beautiful room. I cannot begin to tell you how amazing this is, with the beams that go across the ceiling, the carvings, the pilasters, the pillars, the drawers. They all work. They're just beautiful all the way around. This house was built to last, and it's 110 years old, and it is an absolute treasure. Look at this stairway. The grand stairway is something that impresses me without reservation. Leading from the formal entry room with the parquet flooring, the twisted banister that it has, everything about this house is details. It goes upstairs like this, and it's a dual banister going up both ways, and it leads to the main it leads to the main bedroom areas. And this house is so well designed for its day. It really is impressive. This is the stained glass window I referred to earlier. It is so many pieces of stained glass window. It's got that amazing seat that you sit down at the top of the stairway, have a conversation. On each side there's a storage room for different knickknacks or whatever else. But what an amazing spot on the top of that stairway to stop and chat and have a conversation with somebody. It's museum quality. It really is museum quality all the way through this house. You will be impressed when you step on the top of this landing. Straight across that landing, if you go straight up those stairs, is the master suite. Now I'm going to show you the master suite. This is the highest rent room in this bed and breakfast in Michigan, and it's really if it was mine, I would live here. I would live in this room. It's like a living room all by itself with a fireplace. At one time, this was probably a coal-fired fireplace. Right now, it's not used as such just because it's hard to insure a property like this, but it has the class and the charm that goes back to that day. And it's a full living space that you live in. It's got a closet and a private door that locks with individual door, and that's a pocket door that seals off the bedroom. They called those back in the day a courtesy door. That's when mom and dad didn't appear to sleep with one another, but honestly they did. This is a master suite that only the most affluent people back in the day could afford, and I'll show you a few reasons why I say that. It's a separate bedroom from the living area, where mom and dad would probably sit around and chat after a day and probably have tea served to them by their servants. And it had that private bedroom area with a private bathroom, which is unheard of back in that day. To have indoor plumbing was advanced back in 1903 when this house was put together. But to have your own private bathroom was just unheard of. So if you look at this to the left of this bedroom, there's a door, and that door leads out to this balcony. This is an amazing piece of architecture. It's a veranda where you would watch the sun come up or the sun go down and watch people come by in the morning or the evening. Look at that. That is the front of the house. That's the main entry on the bottom floor where you walk into where the fireplace was, and that grand stairway, a parlor to the left, a dining room to the right, very formal. And upstairs was mom and dad's suite that you saw right there, the private bedroom, the bathroom, the living area, all of that locked separately so that the children wouldn't come in and barge in on you. So now it's a bed and breakfast, and that is the largest suite in the bed and breakfast right there that leads out to the veranda. It really is an amazing suite. If I owned this property, that would be my master suite. That's the private bathroom that goes along with it. It's been modernized, obviously, with newer fixtures. You don't want the old ones. It has a shower, which was just not available back in the day, so it's been modernized. The other bedrooms that are up on this main floor, the second floor, There are several suites. They're not different themes, but they're differently decorated. They're all unusual. They have their own sinks and they have their own lavatories. There's a pink bedroom. It has two queen beds in it. Again, most of this furniture can be purchased with the property with the correct offer, correct dollar amount. This is the main floor bathroom that goes along with the ADA suite, which is um, it's for disabled people. This suite is on the main floor, and the entryway has a ramp, so people with disabilities can access this property and enjoy the the lifestyle that goes along with it. So it's a main floor bedroom with large, with it's just spacious all the way around. Look at the antiques that are in here. These are treasures. These are vintage, beautiful treasures that go along with the property. This entire property goes back to the period, but it's still been modernized without without victimizing the period that goes along with it. This is the amazing front porch. Front porches are made for sitting. Lots of opportunities to do that here. Look at those amazing pillars that hold the entire structure up. They're massive. You can barely wrap your arms around those. They are just impressive. This is a type of architecture that usually you only see in the South, but when it was put up in the North country, it meant you had money. It meant you had affluence and prestige. The fixtures have all been modernized, of course. Some of these were the original gas fixtures that had gas lighting back in the day, but they modernized them as electricity became available. That's the entryway. This is all vintage, back to the period. That's a fireplace in the parlor. The parlor was one of the first rooms I showed you with the pocket doors that sealed off completely. That would be the drawing room or the sitting room. Had a library, no TV, no internet. People would actually sit down in front of the fireplace, read a book, have a conversation back then. The marble sinks that go through this house, almost all of these bathroom sinks are hand carved marble. So they were drawn from a quarry, cut, and then hand carved into a sink, and then fixtures put into them. And all of this goes back to the period. That's the portico for the carriage. Now, back in the day, of course, you didn't have motorized vehicles. So the carriage would actually bring you from the carriage house. The carriage would pick you up, drop you off, and that's the overhang that would drop you off so you didn't get wet walking into the house. And of course, if you have a carriage portico like that, you need a carriage. This property, again, for the right price, has a horse-drawn carriage, and if you care to have it, you can entertain your guests with a carriage ride through the city of Coldwater. They really have put a lot of thought and attention into this particular bed and breakfast to make it an experience for people. Now, it's time for these people to sell this particular inn and sell this real estate investment in Michigan because it is just time for them to be on with a different portion of their lifetime. It is an amazing property. When you look at everything that's available here, the vintage nature of the property, the antiques that are included, the real estate over an acre, 7,000 square feet of housing, and I'm going to show you some of the bonuses that go along with it. There's a screen porch off the kitchen right there. It's got a complete commercial kitchen with a 10-burner commercial stove, so you can serve your guests, or if it's just you, you have plenty of room and plenty of accessories to serve your family. This building here is not an original carriage house. It was added on at some point. I don't know when. But what we have here is an additional income stream opportunity, income property, two separate apartments upstairs that are they're efficiency apartments. They have central air. They have the French doors that lead out. So the bathrooms in the main floor there. It has a separate little kitchenette, and you rent them out by the night, or if you by the week, whatever you want, depending on the zoning. They have jacuzzi tubs, so they're kind of really cool private areas. They're not vintage, but they are private. There's a lot of it. There's a salon on the main floor. They have a salon for styling hair. They also have two massage beds for couples massages. This building was set up, as you can tell by the architecture, somewhere probably in the late 80s, early 90s. And it was designed specifically to draw in income into the inn. So this is an income property with several streams of income if you do it right. You just have to manage it properly. There's accessory buildings for all your lawnmowers and everything else you need because they picked up additional property along the way. This is really, to me, I've been in business for 29 years. This is an amazing property when you look at the way it was built originally, the way it was maintained, and then at some point previous to this owner, it was rehabilitated properly. I've watched a very rare that you see someone take the time, energy, and pour this kind of money into a property and do it correctly, honestly. To see this type of refinishing of woodwork, just the details on the outside, it really is somebody's dream right now. The question is it your dream? Is this a property that you're looking for? Is this something that you're trying to infuse into your life? Is this a property, the bed and breakfast lifestyle, almost a hotel, a destination property, or would you rather make it a single family home for you to enjoy with your antiques and really have a special house that means something to you? My name is Clint Mackey. Very rarely do I see a property that is this unique and special. I want you to take a look at this property at 215 East Chicago Street in Coldwater, Michigan, and ask me any other questions you have. My contact information is right there on the screen. My phone number is 616-837-7630. I'm so sorry this video went out so long. If you are still listening to this, give me a call. Let's talk about what it is I can do to show you this property and possibly make it yours today. My name is Clint Mackey, Thresholds for Living Realty. Thanks for stopping by for this amazing property. I'll catch you next time.